Hey my peeps, I'm gonna use my wok, my new wok for the first time. My old wok has disappeared. I have almost everything I need here for the mise en place, because when you're stir frying, you can't be running around looking for things. So the first thing I'm gonna do, first thing I'm gonna do is just take off the base of the bok choy. I have 5 baby bok choy, but these are very large. If you have small ones, use 6, and separate all the leaves. Then we're gonna wash it. I might even take some of this is the juicy good part. I'm not gonna remove it all. Just a little bit, because mine are kind of large. We're gonna put it all in a salad spinner. Remember, leafy green vegetables like to cook down a lot. And I just want enough to fill this baby, overfill it. And I'm going to wash, rinse, and then dry it in the spinner. Luckily, this comes to my town very often, which is great because it's extremely refreshing, full of refreshing water inside, and green on the leaves. Leafy green vegetables are amazing for heart health and health in general, because they're full of nutrients. But the next stage is going to be to silken the chicken. And normally, I've also seen it called velveting the chicken. I've done this before and it's really lovely. Let me get the chicken, hold on. I didn't want it to sit out while I got the camera ready. I'll wash those bok choys in a minute. And whether you call it velveting or silkening, what I was pre-boiling the silkened chicken. So I'm gonna do 2 breasts. It's advised, and the other 2 I'll put back in the fridge. It's advised to wash anything that comes in a package. All right. Rinse off the exterior stuff, whatever it is. It's usually just chicken juice. I'd like to dry that. So I'm looking for the towel, and I'm just gonna dry it off here. You know, just enough to keep it okay. So what we're gonna do is slice against the grain. Notice the grain is going this way across the chicken breasts. So we're gonna use this is a meat knife. And the reason it's used for slicing meat is because it's long and straight and you can get good cuts. And I'm going to cut it in 1/4-inch slices like this. And those are gonna fry up very quickly. And then we're gonna do a little bit more to it, just to get the meat tenderized. Where's my, oh, this is the bowl I want. I want a glass bowl. I don't want a plastic bowl for meat. Anyway, I'm using a plastic cutting board, but I'm going to fully inoculate that as soon as I'm done, and hot water and possibly some bleach, but it's not the cutting that's a problem on plastic, it's the marinating. Okay, so we have pieces that are like, there's the grain. I'm gonna go like this with the lovely meat knife. See, that's what you want. 1/4 inch against the grain. This comes in handy when you're using tough cuts of beef like skirt steak. So just knowing how you can easily make something tender just by virtue of how you cut it. Okay, this will be tender, but it's going to be even more tender when I silken it. And like I said, I normally boil the silkened, just slightly boil it until it turns white. But this recipe calls for a kind of wok fried silkening. And so in a minute, I'll show you how I'm going to prepare the meat and get rid of the plastic bowl and wash my hands. Okay, so we're back to getting to velveting, or I know it is silkening the chicken. So we're gonna start with 1 egg white, and I'm just gonna do it. I find this the easiest way. And wash my hand a bit. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Where's my, oh, this is what I want. 1 tablespoon cornstarch. All right. It's cooking, not baking, so I'm not leveling it to the top. We'll need that later for the udon sauce. And then we're gonna use Shaojing cooking wine. And I got this on the internet. And it's used in so many varieties of Asian and regional Chinese cooking. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon. Find the lid and the whisk. Here we go. We're gonna whisk this up nicely. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Not making a meringue. And we're just gonna pour it over the meat. And then you're gonna go in with your hands. Well, I'm going to go in with my hands. Others may not. Just to get it all coated. And then you're gonna refrigerate this while it marinades for at least 30 minutes and up to a day. While the chicken wine and cornstarch mixture is marinating in the fridge, I've started to make the udon sauce, but there's no such thing as udon sauce. It's just this sauce I'm going to put on the udon noodles. These are the udon noodles. They are fresh and they're pre-cooked, so, and vacuum sealed. So I'm meant to use around 500 grams, and I have 600 here. I might use them all because I'm not sure I'm going to, be cutting this package for any useful reason in the future. But that's just another reason why you want to make a lot of sauce. The first reason is because when you're cooking at a very high temperature, which is what wok stir frying does, is that you don't want to run out of sauce. The sauce will dry up very quickly and end up like a sticky goo. So anyway, I have here 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. I have 1/3 of a cup of oyster sauce. And now I'm doing 1/4 of a cup of, ooh, is that gonna, that wasn't really screwed on. Maybe it doesn't want to be screwed on. This is, I think, a new bottle. This is Hoisin. Oh yeah, it's a new bottle. I use a lot of these, and so I can't say I know which ones have been opened, but this one was not in the fridge, it was in my pantry. So we're gonna do 1/4 of a cup of hoisin, and like I said, 1/3 of a cup I didn't bring, I'll use my finger to get it out. 1/3 of a cup of oyster sauce so far. Put that in the sink. Some of these tend to be salty, the oyster sauce is. And then we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of the Shaojing cooking wine, which I'm using to marinate the chicken as well. Don't have to be exact. Sorry, that's making a noise. And then I want 1.5 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. It's gonna cut all that kind of fattiness. 1. Oh, that's also a new bottle. Gosh, I use these things more than I think, and then I have bottles with that have not been used before. So we're gonna do 1.5. I'm eyeballing that. There's a half. And then we're going to do, that's rice wine vinegar. And then we want a teaspoon. Nope, that's the wrong lid. A teaspoon of sambal olik, which is that great kind of combo of, gosh, it's good stuff. It's basically a garlic chili combo. There's half, that's a heaping half, because I like the flavor of it. That's my, where does that go? Oh, that went on my oyster sauce. Oh, and this goes on my rice vinegar. Okay. Trying to stay in order here. In Ordnung, as they say in German. And then 2 teaspoons of soy. Okay, so I couldn't find my soy, so I'm using mirin. No, I'm using tamari. And these are udon, remember? So udon is Japanese noodles. So I think tamari, which is Japanese soy sauce, should be good. That's 1 teaspoon of minari. Or sorry, tamari. I also have mirin, but this is the closest. Okay, and then I want a teaspoon of the sesame oil. See, lots of things go in here, and it's gonna be fabulous. 1 teaspoon sesame oil, yum. And then we're gonna add some fish sauce. 1/2 teaspoon of fish sauce. Fish sauce is common in Thai cooking, in Vietnamese cooking. And, you know, this is a fusion. This is Asian fusion, I guess. I'm not gonna claim I know much about it, but I can tell from the ingredients that it's fused. It's a fusion. And we're just gonna whisk this up. Make sure to get some of the starch. And I'm gonna taste it. That's some goodness right there. could actually use more fish sauce. I just like that briny flavor because there's a little bit too much sweetness and maybe a little bit more of the aromatic oil, sesame. Everything else is really quite perfect. And these are udon, Japanese. I call them fat noodles. You might call them thick noodles. But they've been in the fridge and they're kind of cold. So I'm just gonna put, I don't know, half of them in this bowl while I boil some water. That's a thing that I just decided to do. I didn't read it anywhere. But we just want to get them unstuck. And as soon as they're unstuck, we're going to add a little peanut oil them so that they don't re-stick. All right, so here's the deal. I used some boiling water for a few seconds to separate my noodles, but they didn't separate, so I quite, after a minute or so, I put them in the colander, added cold water, and separated them with my fingers, and added the peanut oil, because that's what we're cooking everything in. And I'm leaving it in the colander, but we have our udon noodles. I guess I probably forgot to say that there are rice noodles. Okay, now that my hands are dirty again, they're not dirty, they're just oily. I'm going to turn on the heat here to above medium high and add 2 cups of peanut oil. I'm using peanut oil because it has a very high smoking temperature, which means it works well for high heat. Basically, we're gonna pre-fry the silken chicken. The thing is, I've never used a wok to do this, and that's quite a bit of oil. You can use a flat pan, but I'll be, like a normal frying pan for this. It's just that I don't need to be cooking with more than one pan when we know that we can do it all in one. Okay, that's 2. It's quite a lot. But remember, there's a bit more than a pound of chicken. The other high temperature oil you can use is canola, but I decided to use peanut oil, and it doesn't have a flavor. It's just, you need it to be flavorless. Do not use olive oil. That's Mediterranean. It adds lovely flavor, but this is not Mediterranean. Then you want to get this on off. You want to measure. You want it to be in Fahrenheit. It is. And you want to get this up to about 230 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that might be wrong. Hold on. It's actually 250 degrees. I have a baking pan sheet here lined with paper towel. I've got my contraption. I've got my, I guess you call that a spatula. Everything's a spatula in English. I got my spider for getting the stuff out. And I have my thermometer, electric thermometer. And by the way, I have another roll of paper towels for wiping the wok out, because that's what you're supposed to do to keep it in seasoned so it doesn't rust. And I have my small onion chopped from last night. Remember, I did it. And I have you need everything at hand. I have my bok choy, which has been spinned and dried. It's been in the fridge. I have another heat-proof, there's some water in there, a heat-proof vessel for when we pour the silkening oil out, because we're going to use that, we're going to reuse it. Okay, here's some sizzling. Let's measure this. Do not touch the bottom. The other thing I didn't mention is that the wok, because I don't have a gas stove, it is a professional carbon steel wok, and it is, but it has a flat bottom. The real professional ones have a round bottom, because you use them on gas stoves, and then you have a cylindrical kind of holder for it, so that it doesn't touch right onto the burners and the flames. Oh, look, that's getting there. I got 214, 225. It's getting up there. So I'm going to turn this down and get my I don't want to splash my face off. I've got to get the chicken. My understanding is that if the heat is high enough, just don't go overboard, because you might hurt yourself. Hold on, let's just see. Yeah, it's actually too hot. But I'm turning it down. I'm turning it down. And I am going to stand away from this. My chicken is supposed to float. And that's how you know it's done. And it only takes 30 seconds. So we'll just get as much in there as possible. And then we're going to take it out. It's not floating. I measured the temperature, so I know it's proper. But basically what we're going to do is make it white. We're not going to cook it through. We're not cooking it through. We're just going to take the white ones out. They've been silkened with Shaoxing wine. I can see it sticking on the bottom, and that's not good. But we're putting it on the paper here. I don't have enough room. Hold on. We're gonna they're white. They don't need to be cooked through. In fact, you're gonna cook them in the sauce. See, my bottom is giving me a lot of trouble here. But that's okay, because we know what we're doing. Gotta turn the heat back up. I think all that cool, where's my thermometer? You can see you need to do this in several batches, because I just, I got the heat down a little too much. So I'm turning the burner back up. I'm gonna add some more. All this happens quite well. I'm not gonna add it until the temperature's right. Do not touch the bottom. And we're gonna take this out and put it on, spread it out along to take the oil away. Spread along the paper towels. You know what I mean. Let's get some more heat going here. You realize that the more cold meat you put in, I don't think these are actually good enough. The lower the oil will be in temperature. Want it to be around 250 Fahrenheit. Okay, we have that. So we've achieved that. Check that out. No browning, don't brown it. And we're gonna just keep adding. And just keep adding. We're gonna save the oil afterwards because we're gonna use a couple tablespoons for each batch of the stir fry. That's it. No more cooking. Turn it off. Get this stuff degreased on the paper towels. Like that. And then we're gonna transfer the oil to a heat-proof vessel using a pot. Do not hurt yourself. And then we're gonna take, by the way, you don't wash these with soap. We're gonna take a paper towel and some tongs. And we're gonna wipe this out. Okay, folks, here's the deal. Oh, that's a timer. Okay, so I have this on medium-high heat. I made two errors. Well, I told you two wrong things. One was that my rice noodles are not pre-cooked. They are raw, but fresh, which means they're even more delicate and hard to deal with, but that's the kind you really want to use. They are the udon are rice noodles. The ones I have, you can get them in buckwheat. And the other thing I didn't mention was that I did actually clean out the wok using hot water, no soap, after cooking the chicken, because there were bits of chicken there and I didn't want them to burn and give us a wrong flavor. I have here, this is on quite high heat, and I'm going to use that cooking oil that we used for the silken chicken to re-season the pan. That's another reason you don't use soap when you're cleaning these things, because like a cast iron heirloom you might have, it will rust if you remove the seasoning. So part of the seasoning process involves just lightly cooking that, or at a high heat, adding the oil. Now we're waiting for the smoke. Okay, so now that's not the oil smoking. Well, it is sort of smoking. Well, the pan was. Pan has oil on the outside. Anyway, we're gonna add the onions, the chopped onion, and all of the bok choy. All right, get rid of that. And we're just I will use, sorry about this, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna stir this for around 3 minutes till everything's wilted. Start. Everything else going on here is gonna happen really fast. So this could be the finale. You know, I might even cut these down. I'm just gonna, that smells really good. Smells really good. Yeah, I'm gonna cut them down. That'll help get us through to a kind of better stage of cooking and hopefully preserve turn down to medium. Give it a stir. Cut these up. Oh, that smells good. I like the chunkiness of the white parts, but I don't want to have the green parts wilt without cooking through the white parts. Could have done that in advance, but wasn't sure this would be so they're braising. Everything's kind of frying fast. The onions are browning, and this is melting down. I'm gonna add a little oil. That's our silkening oil. There's a lot of water in these. That's why you hear a lot of sizzle. And you have to stir continuously. That's the whole thing. Okay, so that's literally 3 minutes, and it's reduced quite a lot. And we're gonna put it on a plate here with this plate has paper towels also to dry out the oil. Sorry for that quite obnoxious sound. That's just the timer. Okay, shut up. Okay, so we have our wilted greens with the onions. Put them aside. And the next stage, voila, is to wipe this out again. Do it off screen into the garbage. And this, oh, hold on. You just, we're gonna just keep re-seasoning as we cook. So this is hot. We're gonna add a little oil to the pan with the paper towels. And wait for it to come up to smoke. Okay, this thing is done. I'll use it again with a fresh paper towels. Let's see where we go from here. We're waiting for the smoke. We have achieved smoke temperature. We have more. Hold on, we have the oil. Just have to be careful not to burn yourself. I'm going to see how it just immediately shimmers. I'm gonna do 3 tablespoons for this. This one is the noodles. These are the rice udon noodles. They've been separated in peanut oil, the same peanut oil. And the thing is, you don't want to touch them much. You just want to get them, turn it down a bit. You're just going to get them charred on one side, but you want to space them out evenly in your wok. This thing is in my way. Okay, now I'm going to do another, I guess, 3 minutes for that. And then we're gonna let them char on one side before disturbing them. I have a wooden spoon for when I want to disturb them. And after that, we're gonna add the chicken and continue cooking the chicken. And we're going to add back the vegetables and the sauce I made previously, which will be done off the heat because there will be enough heat. The thing about this is that the noodles will stick to a certain point. So there's no point in disturbing them until they have that nice char on the bottom. I may as well get the chicken ready. I said not to disturb it, but it's been 2 minutes. I don't see any char, so we'll go for the 3rd minute while I spread it out up the sides because, you know, this kind of pan is hot everywhere. I have to open the window. I didn't turn on the oven hood yet, fan, because you won't be able to hear me if I do. I like the sound of that. That sounds good. Okay, now I'm just gonna use my fingers because I don't. It's been 3 minutes. Throwing in the meat here. We're gonna cook for another 2 minutes. I'm using these short time periods because that's really what it takes. Otherwise, you just have you have burnt food. Okay. I'll turn that on, the timer. Eventually I'll know how to do this without. I know how to do this without using the timer. I can see some char. That's good enough for me. I have my vegetables. And I have my sauce. I'm not going to cook the sauce. I'm going to toss it over the meat. You can tell the meat is... Oh, I'm going to put the veggies in. I think this is time. Because the meat is quite nice. Just gonna heat up the veg and the wok. 1 more minute. We'll add the sauce and then we'll plate it. I'm just gonna cut that big piece in half. You can hear the sizzling, that's good. That means the noodles are getting a little charred. Cut that piece of meat a bit. Cut that one. Just as you like. I'm gonna add the sauce now. And take it off the heat. So, you know, that was less than 3 minutes. Well, actually, it was about 3 minutes now that I look at the timer. So we're gonna just hold on here. Mix this up, turn that off. Too much hot. Okay. We have achieved liftoff. This smells so good. Can't wait to plate it up. But you need to coat every little bit. Do you see what we're doing here? All those sauces, all those juices, all those lovely greens. Okay, going to plate it up.